Hello, my dear friends. So, recently I posted a tutorial for three artworks for this artwork, for this artwork, and also for this artwork. But I posted a really short tutorial for them, so in other words, not very detailed, and that's why in this video I actually would like to go in details and show you how I did specific things with more details basically. So I'm gonna start with this artwork here. So first of all, we just have here our basic image, which is this image here, and it's a really nice image with amazing colors and composition. And first of all, I started editing the reflection. So basically I needed to make her look like a devil, and for that I actually used a cat texture here. So if you look here, you will see that this is just a cat. So for example, if I make this normal overlay and turn off the mask, we'll see that this is just a normal cat. And I put this part of the cat on her face. And by doing that and just changing the blending mode, let's say to overlay, it actually already looks like it's a texture on her face only. So here's like very simple things. I mean, if you know Photoshop basics, you should understand this. I just cut the cat basically in shape of her face and change the blending mode to overlay. After that, I also applied some color overlay. So if you look, this is the original colors, and I applied some color overlay, which basically made it look more realistic. And if I double click, you will see that I went to layer styles, color overlay, and applied some red color overlay with soft light and low opacity. So for example, if I make this high, as you can see, it's really red. I don't want that. I want it to be around 25% because that's when it looks the most realistic, I would say. Next step, I added these horns. And let me see, where are the horns? I have here so many groups. Okay, so here I have the horns, and this is also pretty simple, I would say, if I just double click to show you the original image. So this is the original image with two horns, and let me just close this. And first I started with the right one. As you can see, I added it here, and of course I had to use some mask. So for example, you can see that this is the original horn. I had to put it behind her head, and for that I used a mask here, and now it's behind her head. I also used the mask to blend this part of the horn with the head. So this is the original, this is with the mask. As you can see, it's more blended. And another thing that you will mention is that this is a little bit blurry. The reason I did that is because in general the whole image, which is in the mirror, is actually blurry. We can see it here, it's really blurry, and that's why to make this look more realistic I had to make these horns blurry as well. And for that I actually just used Gaussian blur here. So if I just zoom in and turn this off, you will see it. You see no blur, it's pretty sharp, and which is not good. And with the blur, it actually looks much more realistic now because it's blurry and it looks really like it's in the mirror. I also added color overlay because that is like the original color of this horn. And with some color overlay, let me just double click so you can see what exactly I did here. As you can see, I increased the amount of red colors. I mean, that's pretty logical because we want this to be looking like a devil. In shadows and in highlights, I did the same. Increased red color in highlights and also increased red color in shadows and also in midtones. And that's basically it. So the same goes to the second horn. I'm not gonna show it all over again, just the same process. Then I just decided to color the eyes with some red color. So if I click here, you will see that. Let me just go to this layer, just red color with brush. You can just select red color and color the eyes. Afterward, you'll have to turn it into a smart object. So basically, once you color something, for example, I go here with my brush tool, let's say I choose red color, and I start coloring here, and now before I actually want to apply any effects on this, I need to turn it into a smart object. So basically just right click and convert to smart object, boom. Let me delete this, I don't need it. This was just an example. Once this is a smart object, you can actually go and apply some Gaussian blur to it. So if I, for example, let me show you, you see this is very sharp, and as soon as I add some Gaussian blur, it actually gets softer. So you can go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur to add some blur here. And also added some outer glow to make this shine. And to add this outer glow, all you need to do is just double click somewhere in empty space, boom, boom. And once layer starts to open, you can go to outer glow and have these parameters here. And as soon as you do this, you will see you will get here this outer glow, red outer glow basically. That's it with the devil. For the angel part, so basically with the eyes I did the same, it's just yellow color, also with some blur and outer glow. It's the same process like with the red eyes. The halo is actually very simple. I have like tons of tutorials specifically on creating different types of halos. So I'm not gonna go into much details, but in general the way it was done, let me just see where exactly is this halo. Okay, it's here. So basically it was just an ellipse which was created using ellipse tool here. So you just select an ellipse and you can just draw an ellipse like that. Boom. I will delete this, I don't need it. So basically that's the ellipse that I drew. And as soon as I did that, I converted it into a smart object. Afterward I added some Gaussian blur and also outer glow again to make it shine. And the last step here would be to add some sparkles on the face, because this is an angel and it's supposed to look like an angel. So sparkles, how do you do that? It's actually pretty simple, I would say. Let me just quickly see where, okay, here are the sparkles. So this is basically, if I just go to normal mode, it's basically an image of glitters. So you can just search in Google, let's say glitters, and you will find different types of images. This is the image that I chose, and then what I need to do is I need to change the blending mode to linear dodge. And as soon as you can see, as soon as I do that, I get only the shiny things here. I don't see the background, and that's it basically. I added lots of glitters here with the same image. As you can see, I have many copies of it, and the same I did for the hands as well. Let me just close this. As few last steps were to change the colors. I used here some color balance. So for example, if we go to the this part, to the devil part, if I double click here, you will see that I increase greens, of course. In shadows I did nothing, in highlights I also did nothing. So basically only midtones I increase greens in order to make sure this is much more greener basically. And I use here a mask to make sure that this effect is applied only to this part of the mirror. So if I turn off the mask, as you can see, it's applied to the whole artwork, but I want it to be applied only to this part, which is perfect. And the same I did for the other part. So as you can see here, for the rest, I made it a little bit juicier, pinkier, I would say. And also I increased the vibrance in general with this vibrance effect. Boom, that's it with this artwork. Let's now go to this one. Yeah, so this is actually pretty easy, I would say. Here, so first of all, I had this image here, and if I just turn off everything, you will see this is the original image. Good. And let me just turn on everything. Okay, so first thing I need to do, I need to cut her face. So for example, if I as you can see here, what I did, I created a copy of this original image. After I created that copy, I applied a mask on it here, and which means I selected only the face. So if I turn on this mask and I just make this big, you will see that this is just the same image basically. What I did is I created a copy and I created a mask to have only her face here. No, don't save this. So as soon as I had only the face, let me turn off Liquify for a second. When I had only the face here, after that, what I did is I added some rainbow colors here to the face. And the reason why I did that, and I will also show you how I added the rainbow colors, but the reason why I did that is that when I apply Liquify effect, I also see these rainbow colors getting liquid with everything else. So as you can see, we have the rainbow colors getting liquid as well. So first of all, let me show you how I created the rainbow colors. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward process. So here, if you look, in order to create a rainbow color, let me turn it off and do it from 0. I will need to create a new empty layer. Afterward, I will have to create hue saturation. Make sure hue saturation is the maximum. Make sure hue is somewhere here. And also what is very important, I need to click here. This basically will help me to attach this hue saturation effect only to this empty layer. So if I click, boom, as you can see, we have an arrow here, and now it is attached only to this empty layer, which is perfect. Now select the layer. Let's go to the brush, click right button. So now if I go here, click right button on the brush and select mixer brush tool. So this one, not the normal brush, but mixer brush. This brush basically helps us to mix the colors and create this rainbow effect. But before you can use it, make sure you have your sample layer selected. Make sure all of your settings are exactly like mine, and make sure these are selected. Let me just make my brush small. Now if I just try to draw here, you will see we start to get some really nice colors here. Boom, and if I just draw, it's looking really nice. The only thing is that we can see that this is like many circles here. So if I draw, you can clearly see that it's very pixelated. So what you can do to make it softer, you can go to your brush settings here. If you don't have it here, you can go to window and find brush settings here, and here you will see spacing. Just make it 1%, and now if I draw, it should be fine. As you can see it now, it's much smoother than the previous one. I mean, we still see the pixels because we are pretty close to the image, but it's still very smooth compared to the other ones, so compared to these ones. Good, that's basically how you create these rainbow colors, and that's exactly how I did it. So let me now turn this off. Again, if you need more details, just go to YouTube, search Color Splash, learn from Fred, and you will see my tutorial for this technique. So once you do that, basically next step is to go and create this melting effect. For that, you'll have to select your image artwork. You'll have to go to filter and click on liquify. Because I have already applied it here, what I will do is I will just double click here, basically to open it again. So good. But for you can go to filter and click liquify if you haven't applied it. And in order to make these things liquid, you can just use this tool, which is forward warp tool. And here, as you can see, you can use exactly these settings as well. And also for you, you're probably not going to see the whole image. You will only see the face. So in order to see, that's because when you were selecting liquify tool, you had only face selected. In order to see everything, what you can do, let me close this. You can close everything here and accept view options, and then you can go here, show backdrop. Make sure it's on. Make sure your settings are exactly like mine. Use all layers, mode behind, opacity 100%. And now when you have it, for example, using this tool now, I can go and click and start dragging. And when I do that, I can actually make her face melt like an ice cream. And I can do so many different cool and creepy things, basically. So I'm gonna click cancel now because I have already melted it before, and I had the results that I wanted, so I'm just gonna click cancel. And also, if you wanna get more detailed advice on melting different things, I have lots of tutorials where I explain all of these settings in details. So that's it basically with this artwork. It was pretty simple. I mean, not simple, especially if you don't know these tools, but it was not that long, I would say. It's just two techniques generally. After that, I just changed the colors, again using color balance, and increase the vibrance. So let's see. So the last artwork here is going to be this one, also probably my favorite one. And how do you do that? So here, first of all, we need to add some smoke effect here, and this is actually not that difficult to do because I actually have a specific brush for it. So basically, I can just go and create a new empty layer. Once I have it, I can go to my normal brush, and if I go to my brushes, you're not going to have here, different fog or smoke brushes. You actually need to find them and download from the internet. So you can just, Google Photoshop fog brushes or Photoshop smoke brushes, and you will find lots of free brushes that you can download. And I'm just gonna use like any of them. Let's say this one. Doesn't matter, make it a little bit smaller because it's too big. And when I have it, let me change the color. Let's say I want to make it bluish, light blue. So when I have it, let me make it a little bigger. As you can see, it's a pretty weird shaped brush. And when I start clicking it, it's going to add here this type of really nice smoke effect. And let me select, for example, different brush. I don't really like this one. Let's say this one. Oh, it doesn't draw well because I had flow on 20. Let me make it 100%. I'm just making my brush size smaller. So now if I draw, boom, as you can see, it's actually creating pretty nice fog and smoke effect. That's basically how I did this pink smokes here, how I created them. And let me just turn this off. So once I had the pink smokes created, next I just need to color the eyes with white color, give them some glow. Again, some simple process, the ones that I showed already previously with previous artworks. After all of this, I need to create here this help sign, and this was done using brightness effect. So basically, let me turn this off and I will show you how. If you just create brightness, oops, not this, sorry. If you just create a brightness layer and make it like really bright, let's say, and now I need to invert this mask. So basically right now I can see that brightness layer is affecting the whole image. I don't want it to affect the whole image because I want to specifically select the places that I want it to affect. So what I can do, I can select this mask here, I can click on it, and then I can click Ctrl or Command plus I. So if you're using Windows, it's Ctrl plus I. If you're using Mac, it's Command plus I. If I do that, boom. As soon as I do that, as you can see, this white mask is now totally black. And now I can select my brush tool. I can select white color. I can go and I can go to my brush settings and select one of Photoshop standard brushes, which is this one. You should have this Photoshop brush as a standard. If you don't have it, then something is wrong with your Photoshop. Okay, and once you have it, so for example, if I just start drawing here, you will see here this kind of white, not really white, but you're kind of drawing with brightness right now because you have here white color, black mask. So basically, wherever you're going to draw with white color on the mask, you're basically going to reveal the brightness effect. So let me go back. I will make my brush smaller. It's too big, and I will just go here and let's say I want to write here help. Just do it quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this. And boom. That's basically how it's done. And now, for example, if I go to brightness, I can make it brighter or darker. As you can see, I can totally control how strong I want this to look, basically. So that was also not that difficult if you know Photoshop on a good level, I would say. If you're just a beginner, of course, all of these concepts are going to be difficult for you. That's why I would advise you to go through my premium classes where I actually show you everything step by step. So, and this is basically the help sign. And that's it. After that, I just need to do some color grading, with color balance. And boom. That's it with this artwork as well. So guys, I hope this was useful. And again, if you didn't understand something, then please go and try to watching it over and over again, or just DM me on Instagram, Freds_gallery. I'll be happy to help you, my dear friends. Love you. Bye bye.